What's up, everybody? This is the Helpful Hacker here. Today we're going to be going over the How Websites Work room from TryHackMe. So we'll get started with task number 1. So this is just going to give us a very boiled down version of how websites work. So you'll be on your computer using your browser. You type something into Google, travels through the internet, and then the Google server is going to receive that request from your browser, and then it's going to send a response back through the internet, and then you're going to get that response and see it in your browser. So that's kind of how it works in a really simplified version. And the reason why they're doing this is because there's a couple of key takeaways they want you to have, and that is that this whole portion that involves your browser and you, that is called the front end or the client side. And those two terms are used interchangeably all the time. So you got to know both of those. And so the front end or the client side is over here. And then the back end or the server side is over here. And oftentimes that's how people will refer to it. They're not going to say, oh, in your browser. They'll just say, front end or client side. So have to know that terminology. So you can go through, read through those little blurbs, but they just basically explain front end and back end and what they are. And then answer the question, what term best describes a component of a web application rendered by your browser? Because it involves your browser, that's going to be front end, right? And it's rendering it on your browser. So that's front end. And then once you've done that, you've finished task number 1. We can move on to task number 2, HTML. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and this is what websites are written in. This is how you build a website. And right here, it kind of gives you a quick summary. So HTML will build the website and give it like structure, give the pages structure. CSS, that is formatting, so it's like adding style options, adding color, changing sizes, changing fonts. That's CSS does all of that. And then JavaScript is used to make a website interactive. So for example, when you see me, when I go over this view site button, it changes color. That's because of JavaScript, right? That's an interactive piece to this website. So, but we're not talking about that yet. We'll talk about that down here. So HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. It's what websites are written in. And HTML is made up of elements or tags. People will use those interchangeably. So you got to know both. And they're what make HTML work. And you can just I don't like that view. So we have an example of HTML right here. And so this is what it looks like. And as you can see, each of these things in red is a tag or an element. And you have, on some of these, you have an opening and then a closing tag. And you can tell the difference between an opening and a closing tag because you have this / in front of the actual tag name. So that's how you can tell the difference between an opening tag and a closing tag. Lots of tags have opening portions and closing portions. Some tags don't need to close. So they're just open-ended tags. And those exist. We'll get to them at the very end of this room. I think you have to use one, actually. So, yeah. So those are tags and elements. And then down here, it gives you an explanation for what each of these mean. So this first one, this doc type HTML, that just defines the HTML document. And so when a browser sees this, the browser knows, okay, this is an HTML document. This is how I need to read it or interpret the page. And then HTML, this is going to be the root element, so everything else is going to be after this. And then you have the head element, which contains information about the page, but none of it's displayed. So you don't actually see anything inside of this head element. And here we can see it opening and then closing. And inside of it, you have the title. So you can put lots of other stuff in there, like style information and other things, and it won't be shown on the page. Then we get to the body. So this is what actually like defines the HTML document that you see. Like this is the start of what you see. And then we have H1, which stands for heading. And then you have P, which stands for paragraph. And they have some example writing in there. You could put in whatever you wanted in these. It's just, they're basically kind of like text fields, and then you'll see them on the web page. And then they close off the body here, and then they close off the whole HTML document. And so that's how you would read that, and that's what those different things do. So there are tons of different types of elements used for tons of different things. You have buttons, you can have images, you can have links, you can have lists, you can have all sorts of stuff. And so there's a different tag or element for each of those. And you just, as you look at more HTML or practice writing HTML, you'll just kind of learn the important ones. So that's, yeah, there's lots of different kinds. And then one other thing that you need to know is you need to know about attributes, which can be used to style an element, and tags contain these attributes. And so they can do a lot more than just style an element. They do lots of stuff. So for example, here we have an image. That's what IMG stands for. That's the image tag. And inside that opening tag, we have source, which would be your attribute. And then this is the information. So you can think of attributes as like additional pieces of information that need to be added to the tag. And an element can have a bunch of these attributes that, you can have like 5 attributes in one element. And so you can think of it as you have the element, which is the main part, what it is. And then you can have all these little tiny attributes that help define it more clearly. So another common attribute that you'll see is an ID attribute. And this is important because the ID attribute should be unique to the element. And what it will do is that allows JavaScript to find that element and then change it. Again, back to what I said earlier about when you like hover over this view site thing, it changes color. The JavaScript is able to do that and find this and change it because it has a unique ID tag. So then we'll go through, we'll answer some of the questions. It looks like we have to click on that. Okay, so first thing it's going to have us do, we're going to play with some HTML. It will render your HTML on the page. You should see an image of some cats. So render HTML. There's some cats. One of the images isn't working. So if you look at these 2 images, we can see this one doesn't have an extension or not. There we go. So if we give that an extension, we get HTML hero on the next cat. And then we want to add image /dog. So what we can do is, I'm lazy, so I'll just copy this instead of typing it out, paste that, but I don't actually want cat 2. What I want is dog-1, and that's not a JPEG, that's a PNG file. And you can see that right there. So then you render that, and then it gives you dog HTML. And so you can go through, you can play around with this, kind of see what happens on the web page to help you understand HTML better. But go through, answer those, and with that, you're done with task 2. Now it's on to task 3, JavaScript. So like I said, JavaScript is what helps make pages interactive. Like you can see when I hover over this, changes color. Pretty cool, right? So it can do that in a lot of ways. JavaScript is a very popular coding language. It's a whole thing, so you're not expected to know all of it right now, but you should kind of have a basic idea of what its purpose is. And so I'm just going to skip straight to the questions here at the bottom because I think they will help. if it loads. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Okay. So it says render HTML code plus JavaScript code. Why is this going so slow? Okay. Right. So there we go. It's loaded up. We have our area here, and this says script. So type text JavaScript. So there's two ways to really have JavaScript included in your HTML. You can just have the script tags. You have them open and closed, and then everything in between that can be JavaScript. Or what you can do, and they show you an example here, is you can do a script, and then you can put the source, and then you just put the location of a whole JavaScript file, and then you close it off, and it will just grab the entire file. So those are kind of the two ways you can include JavaScript into your HTML or into your web page. And so we'll take a look at this. Let's see, first question. Add JavaScript to change the demo element's context to hack the planet. And they give you a little thing right here, so we can literally just copy this and we can paste it right there. Now what this is doing is it's finding the element, and it's doing that by a unique ID, which is demo. And we can see that the demo right here just says hi there. And then what we're doing is we're taking that and we're going to change it to hack the planet. So if I run this, hi there should change. And we see that it does, and then it gives you this pop-up, which is also done through JavaScript. That's why it pops up like that. And you can type in the answer there, and that's your answer for question number 1. Next is number 2, and they want us to add this button. So I'm going to add this button here. Okay, there we go. Now when you do this, it's important that you do it outside of the script tags. Now why? Why would I want to do it outside the script tags? Because the script tags, if you're going to do it inside these script tags, everything inside those script tags needs to be HTML or needs to be JavaScript, or else you'll get an error. That's why you have them like this. Whereas here, what we're doing is we are literally putting the JavaScript inside that first button tag. So we have the opening button tag and we have the closing button tag, and we put all the JavaScript we need right here, and we put it under this on click. Right? And then this is all the JavaScript, right? So that's another thing you can do. Like before, when I hover, you can trigger JavaScript based on different things. So if you hover over something, if you click on something, then different things might happen, and you can plug that JavaScript right into the opening tag of certain elements. So now if I do that, what we should get here, what's happening is it's getting the element ID demo. And then, well, first off, it's adding a button, right? Because this tag is a button tag. So it's adding a button here, and that button says, me too, okay? Because that's the text in between the closing tag and the opening tag. Now, inside the opening tag, this is where our JavaScript is, and it's going to get the element demo by ID, and then it's going to change that to button clicked. So if I render this, I'm going to get this, and it's going to say, give you, oh, you don't have to actually put a flag down there. So great, it's going to tell us congrats because we left in this stuff. And then if I hit click me, then this is changed to button clicked, right? And that's because on click, this JavaScript is triggering. So hopefully that helped you kind of get to know JavaScript a little bit. You don't need to know it like crazy in depth. You'll learn a bunch more about it, especially if you work on web applications. So that's answer those questions. That's task number 3. Task number 4, sensitive data exposure. Sensitive data exposure can mean a lot of things. So I am just gonna go to the example here. So here's this website. And then on the question, it says, if we view it on this link, we can access the source code. So to access the source code, you right click and then you click inspect. And now I can see the HTML document for this page. And this is really handy. And so you can open all these up, look at all the different parts of what's going on, and we can see, right? And if you want to learn a lot about HTML and JavaScript, just inspect websites, find a website you like, right click on it, hit inspect, and then this will literally help light things up so you can see what things are. So when I light up body, it lights up pretty much the whole thing, right? Because that's the part that we're actually going to see of the web page. So if we go through here and we look at all this different stuff, they have inputs, they have div, which stands for like a division. So images, we've seen that before. We worked with that when we did the task 1 or 2 or whichever one it was. And what we see here is we have a note. And this note says to do, remove test credentials, gives us a username admin and a password test password. So that is an example of sensitive data exposure. So you can put test password in there, submit that, that'll give you the correct answer. And yeah, I mean, sensitive data exposure, pretty generic term. This is a good example of it though, leaving credentials inside of code somewhere. And that's why if you inspect code, you may be able to find those credentials, or in this case, if you inspect that HTML. So you can read through that, learn a little bit more about sensitive data exposures. And once you've done that, you've finished task 4. Now task 5 is going to be HTML injection. And so to help me do this, I'm going to also take a look at this site while we're doing it. And then we're going to see how this site works. So if I type in something, it says, welcome ASDF. So it takes my input from here and it copies it right there. Now, this is done a lot with JavaScript, and if done properly, this is totally okay. And when it's done properly, that's called sanitizing user input. And so if they were to sanitize this and put it up there, then that's totally fine. Now, if you don't sanitize user input, what a user can do is they could put JavaScript or they could put HTML code in there and get that to run on your page. And then they have the ability to do lots of stuff and manipulate your page. So just as an example, I think what it asks us to do down here, we want to make a malicious link to hacker.com. So to make a link, you have to use the A tag. And then you have to use the href attribute, and you're going to set that equal to the actual link. Okay. Now, if I wanted to, I could just close this off here, submit that, and I'm pretty sure it would give me the answer. Yeah. So that gives me the answer because I am adding this link. But that doesn't look very good. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to close that, and then we're going to write click me, and then we'll close that link tag, right? So here is our opening link tag, and here's the actual link. We're going here, and then I put in some words, click me, and then we close it. And so what that'll do is now we actually see the words click me, and it's a clickable link that would take you to hacker.com. So hopefully that makes some sense. Again, you'll get more into injection attacks and learn them in depth as you move along through TryHackMe. So you can copy that, paste that in there, and then that is your answer. And with that, you're done with task 5. If you found this video helpful at all, give it a like, subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And with that, you are done with the How Websites Work room from TryHackMe.